hop in my ride, come and kick it. Put her on to my vibe, she addicted. As soon as I leave, you gon' tell me that you miss it. Get to that paper non-stop, it's how we live it. Baby, hop in my ride, come and kick it. Put her on to my vibe, she addicted. As I leave, you gon' tell me that you miss it.
YouTube, what's the word, man? It is your boy Gummythedon, aka Gummy So Wavy, and I'm back with another lit video, man. Today we are reacting to $25,000 a year versus $25 million a year, and everything in between. I watched this video a few months ago. I actually watched the original video and I watched my guy Mac Moolah, shout out to Mac Moolah, react to it. This video was very eye-opening, and it kind of made me realize even more than what I already knew, the uphill battle young Americans, and not just young Americans, just everybody, just this uphill battle that we face trying to, make it out the struggle, trying to survive, trying to feed our families on an everyday basis. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of opened up my eyes to the battle we face. That's why I advise in the video I made yesterday, if you watched it, that's why I advise a lot of people to have different streams of income, or even bet on yourself, man. If you have an idea, you have a business plan, man, try to make that shit happen, because when you watch this video and just see the different statistics on it, bro, it's gonna change the way you look at certain things. I know it did for me, even more than what I already viewed it. Man, enough of that. I ain't trying to make the intro too long, man. We just gonna hop right into it. The video in itself gonna give you gems, but I'm gonna pause it sometimes and break down my viewpoints of different stories I have for it. Let's get right into it, man.
This is what a $25 million a year salary looks like versus a $25,000 a year salary. About 20% of Americans live on this amount of money or less. I want to show you the lifestyles of people who make this much money versus this much money, and everything in between. The reason I want to look at these differences is because of this graph. It's going up, which is a problem.
It's crazy.
Let's
how
start
the US
with $25,000 a year.
On that graph, it's crazy how the US way higher than all the other countries.
All right, so let's say my name is George. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am single and I have no kids. And I'm looking for a job. After some searching, I found this job as a security guard at a TV studio in downtown Atlanta. It'll pay me $12.50 an hour, which is quite a bit more than the minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Let's assume I work 40 hours a week.
Minimum wage still $7.50? I thought it was higher than that. I couldn't imagine though, bro. Like, let's do the math on that shit real fast. I couldn't imagine making $12.50 an hour, bro. Let me see how much that is a week. $12.50 times 40 hours a week. $500 a week, bro. Like, could you imagine putting your energy and efforts into, like, working your job, and you come home and you pay your bills at the end of every month, and you can't afford to do nothing else? Like, you could barely afford to put food on the table. Like, you can't go out with friends. You can't go out to dinner, a dinner date with your old lady. You can't do nothing really with that type of wage, man. Like, I couldn't even fucking imagine, bro. Just imagine that too, because I made probably a little bit more than that in my jobs right after high school. Probably like $14 an hour, $15 an hour at some jobs. Like, people are actually grown and have families to feed making that much. Like that, and they study, like, we are in a recession, like inflation is going up. Bet on yourself, bro.
And I work every week except 2 that I set
bro.
aside for holidays, sickness, and vacation. This means I make $25,000 a year. At this level, around 29% of Americans earn as much or less than me. So how will I spend it? This comes out to be just over $2,000 a month that I have to spend. I gotta pay taxes. That brings me down to $1,764
Can't forget about taxes
to live on this month. To calculate this next part for this income and all of the incomes we're looking at, I used some data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics that shows that people in this income bracket spend about 41% of their pre-tax income on housing. I've got about $850 for all my housing expenses. That's nearly half my...
I actually think it might be higher than 40%. I think it's higher. because when I was in that similar position, I had to drop out of school for a year, and I was making about $800 a week. I was working a commission-based job as a sales representative. And I wasn't getting paid in my commission at the time because it was some type of not technical, but some was going on where I couldn't make my commission. So I had to rely on my base pay, which was $800 a week. I lived in a fucking ran down ratchet ghetto apartment complex that was roach infested. And when I made my $800 every 2 weeks, damn. So I made $400 a week. My bad, y'all. So I did make something similar to that. I had to pay after renting bills and stuff like that. I could barely afford like food. So my housing took up about 60% of my income, or 70%, damn near. Like, bro.
After
It's
tax
a struggle
budget.
out
I'll
here,
definitely
man.
be renting instead of owning a house.
If you don't try
at
to
this
figure it out
budget.
yourself
A lot of
and rely
landlords
on
these
your
days
9 to
require you
5.
to earn 3 times more the monthly rent. So I'm probably going to need roommates if I'm going to get approved for an apartment. All right, let's look at Craigslist. I really can't afford to live downtown, so I'm gonna look in the outskirts. And I found this place right outside the city. This is gonna work, and it's within my budget for rent and utilities.
Roommates.
So how am I gonna get to my job, which is in downtown Atlanta? That's 20 minutes away from where I live. And like most American cities, there's not great public transportation here, so I'm gonna need to have a car. Let's just say in this assumption, and it's kind of a big assumption, that I already have a car. And let's assume it's this car. It's a 2004 Toyota Solara that I got on Facebook Marketplace. Lower income Americans spend more on their income for transportation than any other segment of the population. The data we'll use says about 15% of pre-tax income is spent on transportation. So,
All right, this is my last, so I'm gonna let the video play, but when I see certain points, I gotta point it out. That stat that he just brought up is facts, bro, when you on a lower level of income. Quick story time. I remember, I think it was last summer or maybe 2 summers ago. I can't remember exactly. But my girl, whenever she was working, probably about a good 30 minutes from her job. I mean, we lived about a good 30 minutes from her job. She was working at CVS. She would have to pay about $15 to $20 to get there on the Uber. And $15 to $20 to get back. So what's that? 30. Let's just say $30 a day. I like doing math. If y'all if y'all can see now, just to put stuff in perspective for y'all. So she had to spend $15 there and back. So let's do 30. $30 a day, and you work about 5 to 6 days a week. Let's say 5 times 5. Matter of fact, that number ugly. Let's do 20. 20 times 5, that's 100. And 1 week times 4, that's 400. $400, bro. $400 just to get the work. Just to get the work there and back. You basically paying a car note on a new car, bro. Like a brand new 2024 Hyundai, Honda, Kia, or older, like more luxury type of car, a Lexus or something, like a 2012 Lexus. Like you basically paying it on a fucking Uber just to get to work. Like transportation is high, bro. That's why I say I want to point this out too. Because on this channel, man, we keep shit all the way real over here. That's why it's important, bro. If you already have a car, you already have transportation, man, take care of your wheels, bro, because you never know when you're going to be in a situation where you need that car. Like, let's say if I have a car and it's already paid off, and I'm so quick to always want to keep up with the Joneses. That's why I said on yesterday's video, I want to keep up with the Joneses to the point where I'm willing to trade in the car I already paid off on, and it works just fine. It runs like it's new. I want to trade that car in, right? I'm trading that car in just to get a car note that I can't afford, to be honest. And I end up And my car note probably like 380. Let's say my car note 380, and I can't afford it for real, and I end up letting the car get repoed or whatever. It gets repoed. Now I'm stuck having to use public transportation, taking a bus to work or even doing Uber. And what if I work 30 minutes away from where I live? You paying damn near a brand new car. You paying even more than what you was paying on your car note. So that's why I say don't be so quick. Like I watch people around me, siblings or friends, older cousins try to do that, bro. Do not try to keep up with the Joneses. If you have a car that you got paid off, like me, I have a 2014 Honda Accord that's paid off. Paid it off this year. Like just keep that car. If it runs, fine. I'm not so quick to get a car note because what if I get in a situation like that? He just said you're gonna be spending about 20-25% on transportation. That's a lot if you don't have a car. I'd rather be spending 0% or gas. That's the only thing I spend on transportation. Like that's setting yourself up to succeed.
So that's $313 for gas, insurance, parking, and saving up for maintenance and repairs. We gotta be pretty careful about how much extra driving we do and hope that no big maintenance issues arise. According to this BLS data, I spend about 15% of my income on food. That includes both groceries and eating out. That's $313 a month for food. A lot of people think that this income bracket just goes to McDonald's all of the time, but the reality is the average order amount at McDonald's is between $7 and $8, so that will not get me through the month. That will get me through 13 days worth of food. So I gotta go to the grocery store.
You can't even afford McDonald's, G. With that type of wage and income a year, bro, you can't even afford McDonald's, bro.
Unfortunately, in most lower income areas in this country, there aren't a ton of grocery stores, and the ones that are available are much less likely to carry fresh produce or other nutritious food. So I'm gonna see what I can do by stocking up on beans and rice, peanut butter and jelly, Wonder Bread, Top Ramen, freezer meals. For fresh options, I'll be looking at potatoes and some of the cheaper produce, and no eating out, or rarely, occasionally, on special occasions, eating out. If I do, I'll be looking at the value menu at a fast food restaurant. I'll be looking for discounts, checking every price in the convenience store. Okay, but wait, don't I get government assistance for food, like food stamps? So from my research, I can see that to get government assistance, I need my savings account to be less than $2,000. Check. My income needs to be lower than $19,578. And I make $25,000, so nope, I don't qualify. Okay, so we've covered our basic needs of housing, food, and transportation, but I still have a lot of expenses.
Y'all see?
We hear a lot about healthcare being
Let me see. Y'all probably didn't catch that. The finesse they be pulling, bro. You can't even afford McDonald's, G. You can't fucking afford. You can't fucking afford McDonald's, G. McDonald's. But at the same time, you still can't qualify for food stamps.
And I make $25,000.
It's self-explanatory. Nope, I don't even gotta break it down.
Okay, so we've covered our basic needs of housing, food, and transportation. But I still have a lot of expenses.
I rely just on the 9 to 5.
We hear a lot about healthcare being a massive personal cost in the US, but what does that actually look like? Georgia's Medicaid website says that I qualify for government help, but even with that, I will be paying around 10% of my income on health-related expenses like medicine, doctor visits, getting care that isn't covered by this government insurance. This is one of the reasons why people in my income bracket live around 7 years less than the richest Americans. After all these main expenses, I'm left with a small amount of money for everything else.
Crazy,
and there's a lot more that I need to spend just to live.
That's
laundry,
crazy.
Internet connection.
That's insane, bro. That's kind of sad to me. Like you spend all these years struggling and fighting, trying to feed your family, trying to make a better life for yourself, and you don't even live longer because of the number of things, bro. I can't even. It's too many to even state or count. It's too many factors that play into that, but it's kind of sad.
Adds up to $105, not taking into account the overcharges and hidden fees. Like, you're starting to see what's happening here. This doesn't add up. Entertainment, fitness, and travel just isn't feasible. I have no emergency savings, no rainy day fund, and live in stress of an unexpected car repair, a health emergency.
Stress.
Any of these
That's
unexpected
probably
charges could be
one
a
of the
major
factors
setback. I'm probably going to have to
that make you
join the
live
huge
less.
number of Americans that rely on debt to get through the month, whether that's credit card debt or short-term loans with high interest rates. Maybe I'll need to move back in with my parents or take on a second job. Maybe I'll start driving Uber or DoorDash. But what's clear is that my full-time job, which pays much more than the minimum wage, is still not enough to make it
Still
through the
not
month.
enough.
I'm going to pause the video really quick.
Minimum
I'm
wage.
excited about the sponsor of today's video. It's the first time they're
skip
sponsoring a
past
video,
it.
and it is Headspace.
Video
I started using
already.
Headspace over a decade ago when I was at college, and I was first getting into meditation, and I love it. Headspace is an app, but it's also
Headspace.
just a general guide for people
I
who
was
want to
just
get
about to
into
skip past
meditation
you.
but don't know how, which is what
Maybe
I
it's something
was
we
10
need to
years ago when I was
download.
starting my journey of meditation. First, let me tell you why meditation is important in my life. I find that
Definitely.
our minds are like muscles. They're like something that can be trained and reshaped. Meditation is kind of like exercise for that muscle. It helps you retrain and reshape how your brain works. And there's no spiritual or religious requirement to any of this. Good meditation and mindfulness are simply a practice that brings more peace into your life. Headspace is a platform, a community, and a guide that teaches you how to do this. It guides you through meditations. The platform has a huge number of guided meditations. It also has this really cool
just
feature
downloaded.
where in the morning it will prompt you to watch like a very peaceful, thought-provoking video that will sort of ground you and give you perspective for
Y'all
the
go
day.
check out Headspace, man.
Treating things like depression and anxiety, something I've actually thought about making a whole video on. Studies have shown that using tell you that Headspace is offering 60 days, it's like 2 months of life. Simon, I am the representative of the median American income of a single earner. I make $40,000 a year as an event coordinator at a country club in Atlanta. My $40,000 salary gives me just over $3,000.
It's a little bit better.
After federal and state taxes, I'm left with just under $2,700. Using that same data set, my budget for housing is $1,133. I'm kind of feeling this
Not so
one-bedroom
bad.
house. Let's say between rent for this house and my utilities, I'm paying
Now you moving
$1,133.
on up. You moving on up. We at $40,000 a year.
For my
Let's see
monthly
how
housing
life
expenses.
is when you making that much money.
Country club is kind of far from my house, and because there's no public transportation, I'm gonna need a car. I saved up and purchased this 2011 Subaru Forester on Facebook Marketplace. I got it for $4,500. So, like George, I spend about $136 a month just on gas to get to my job. This leaves me with a little over $400 for everything.
I'd rather spend that
Guys
amount.
gotta eat. What am I gonna do for food?
Then
According to the
$400
BLS
taking
data,
a
someone
Uber.
like me spends around $467 a month on food. I typically spend about $100 a week on groceries and can use the rest on a dinner out or two. I've got a Kroger grocery store 4 minutes away from my house. And at this point, I'm definitely cognizant of every price on these shelves. I'm using coupons, trying to get the best deal, but I have leeway to spend a little bit more on maybe a decent cut of meat or some fresh produce. Maybe I buy organic every once in a while. I can comfortably feed myself if I'm smart about how I spend and I don't eat out too much. This income level is right on the threshold where employers start to sponsor your healthcare plan. They start to subsidize it. That's a thing here in America. And luckily, my employer does. But even still, I spend $300 a month on health, medicine, out-of-pocket doctors, pre-deductible expenses, and
That's
now
a
I get to
little
pay for
bit
a gym.
hot to
I
me.
signed up for this
I
low-cost
definitely
gym
don't
for
spend
$10
that
a month.
much.
So after covering these basic needs, I have $231 left for everything else, all of my other essentials.
Then he kinda
Laundry, cell
pushing
phone,
it with
internet
that.
brings me down to $126. I will try to put some of this away for an emergency or a trip. Put it into a savings account with a good interest rate so it will grow over time. But to be honest, I'm probably going to spend this on entertainment. Like, I want to go out and have fun. I want to go to a movie. I want to subscribe to Hulu and Netflix. I might buy a book. Might go out.
Do y'all see the previous income gap when he was making $25,000 a year? Where especially like if he had to pay all his bills, he's not a college student, he don't stay at home, like he's out on his own in the real world. Making that much money, he couldn't afford entertainment. He couldn't afford a gym membership. He couldn't afford like dinner dates or dinner nights out with his lady or friends, or if he dating girls, you know what I'm saying? He couldn't afford none of that, bro. Like it's crazy. Like when you at that end of the spectrum, bro, you can't do nothing, bro. You surviving at that point.
out with some friends, and after all of that, I end up around zero. So all in all, I'm doing better than George, but not that much better. I've got
Not
some
for
money left
real.
over at the end of the month, but an
You're not
emergency
in the negatives,
expense
but
would still leave me in debt. All right, let's up this to 100 grand a year and see what our budget looks like.
all right, now
Okay,
we
now
talk.
I'm Tim, and I just
We
found this
talking
job
now.
in sales. It makes me $100,000 a year. I'm officially in the six figures. I make 4 times more than George and double the median income that Simon makes. I'm now near the top 10% of earners in this country. My salary gives me
That's crazy. He said
$8,333
10%.
every month.
Because
2,200
every girl I talk to makes
of
six
that is going to
figures.
go to taxes, and I'm left with just over 6
Excuse me, I
grand.
ain't said it right.
In this
God damn, is it gonna pop?
income bracket, you see that people spend around 30% of their income on housing. Until
This
recently,
damn Wi-Fi. That's crazy. We paying all this money, $50 on Wi-Fi, bro. It's tripping. This shit better have better service next month. Anywho, what was I talking about? I forgot what he. Hold on. He said only 10%. He said only 10% of Americans or something like that make $100,000 a year. That's funny because every girl that I talked to in the past, or like just friends I had or whatever, 2, 3, 4 years ago, know somebody that makes 6 figures or they even make 6 figures. But he just said only 10% of Americans make 6 figures. I just have to point that out.
my
That's
salary
insane.
gives me
But let everybody tell that
$8,333
they make
every
6
month.
figures.
2,200 of that is going to go to taxes, and I'm left with just over 6 grand. In this income bracket, you see that people spend around 30% of their income on housing. Until recently, this salary would have been more than enough to buy a house, but these days, not so much. But for the case of our assumption,
Recession,
let's
bro.
assume that I, Tim, have been saving for 10 years and I'm finally ready to purchase my first home. Zillow is telling me that I can afford a house that's around $314,000. I'm gonna buy this nice
Making
one-bedroom
$100,000,
townhouse in
I wouldn't even
Atlanta.
be thinking
It's got
about
these
buying
nice
a
wood
home.
floors, all of this natural light. Oh wait,
Renting
no.
is
Looks
where
like
it's
there's a
at.
condo fee, $426 per month, probably for that fancy workout room. Okay, we're gonna have to keep looking. Okay, I found one. It's a 1-bedroom condo. It's got a fireplace, access to a pool and a fitness room. It's in a pretty good location, and it's just under $260,000. With the condo fee, I'll be paying around $2,700 per month, which is about 32% of my income for housing. I get to spend more on housing than George and Simon make in a
$2,700.
month. Oh, and
27, and he spend more on housing than what George and Simon was making in a month. That's insane to me, bro. But $2,700 for a 1-bedroom condo is crazy, bro. Recession.
by the
bro.
way, I will have to cough up
Recession.
$20,000, which is my whole savings for a 5% down payment and closing costs to make this house purchase. Thanks to my good credit, I can qualify for a good car loan that allows me to buy this beauty, a $50,000
Credit saves
BMW.
you.
It'll cost me
Credit saves you whenever you're
$754 a
making this
month
type of
for
money.
5 years.
100,000,
And it will leave me with
40,000, 25,000.
$579 every month to spend on gas, repairs,
credit,
and
bro.
insurance. I'm even starting to be able to afford to bring it to a professional car wash place, get it detailed every couple months. I am upper middle class now, so I only have to pay 11% of my income on food per month just to feed myself. I get to eat out a lot more lately. When I'm at the grocery store, I get to peruse the fresh and nutritious food much more
This when
abundantly.
when you making 100,000. This when you get a little bit bougie shopping at. You know, I might go to Target. I might go to Whole Foods. I ain't gotta go to Walmart. Kroger's alright, but what's one that's really ratchet, bro? I haven't shopped at not to say I'm better than anybody else, but I haven't shopped at like one of these grocery stores in so long. I gotta think about what it's called. I used to. I have before during hard times. Save a lot. You know, it's this environment like Target, Whole Foods. It's a complete different environment. The food is better. The meat is better. Like you get better products to shop for. You know what I'm saying? And the prices they're a little bit higher, but it's not that big of a well. It's somewhat of a difference, bro. But when you making that type of money, you got the option to okay, I don't want to go shop definitely you won't catch me at Save a Lot for sure. You won't catch me at Save a Lot making the type of money I make. But I go to Wally World, Walmart sometimes, well, most of the time. But sometimes I'll go to Whole Foods to shop. I'll go to Target a lot more than Whole Foods, but I'll go to Target probably about 30-40% of the time. Um, I can attest to this. The environment and just I don't know how to explain. It's a completely different vibe, bro. It's a completely different vibe in Target and Whole Foods versus Walmart, and for damn sure versus Save a Lot, bro. But the type of money, that's crazy. The type of money you make kind of separates where you can buy your food from in this country, bro.
I can buy
Certain
nice
things,
meat
bro,
and
I
nice
gotta
produce.
point out, I just
I'm
gotta
not
keep pointing
overly
that shit out, bro,
concerned about
to
the
open
prices.
some people's
And
eyes.
lately, since meal delivery apps have become more common, I'm ordering DoorDash like once or twice a week. I'm starting to
I
be able to
definitely
use
wouldn't be doing
money
it.
to save myself
wouldn't do it.
time and stress. My job pays for a lot of my health insurance, and yet I still pay $500
Well, I
a
don't
month
know.
on
To each his
health,
own.
medicine, and these kind of expensive supplements I've been buying. I'm able to save money at this
We gonna
point so
go
that
to the
my
next bracket. The next tax bracket, which is probably we ain't gonna make it all the way to 25 million. I don't want this video to be too long. I just wanted to make a point watching the first 15 minutes of it. Yeah, we're gonna go to the next bracket, which probably is 500,000 to $1 million a year, but we ain't gonna make it to 25 million.
minor medical emergency isn't a huge deal. But the doctors I do go to have to be covered by my insurance plan. I can't go out of network. It would be too expensive to pay out of pocket. With all my big expenses covered, I still have $665 to cover Wi-Fi, unlimited data on my phone, and since laundry and a gym are in my apartment, I actually don't need to use much cash for that.
Got a
So
lot
even
of
after all
money
of
to
these
save.
essentials, I have money to save and invest. And even still,
Right.
I have cash left over to go out with friends. Every few months, I'm able
Don't
to
do
save up
that.
enough to
Save
go on
your money.
vacation. My work pays me even when I'm taking
Go on
time off, so I
vacation.
don't need to worry about that. I do have to strategically choose my travel locations to make sure that they're affordable. Because I chose a
Yeah.
cheaper place, I'm able to enjoy drinks and food while I'm there. When I come home, I do have to save and scrounge for a couple of months to recuperate, but it's not
That
too
sound
stressful.
about right.
Not bad, and in fact, much better than the vast majority of Americans. All right, now let's up
That
this
sound
to
about
$1
right.
million a year and see what our
Okay,
budget starts to
Amelia.
look
We're gonna
like.
stop
Hi,
right here.
my name is Noah. I am a junior
This is
managing
more like-
director at a big private
let me
equity
let my
fund.
shirt back.
I'm in finance.
I'm looking for a
A year and see what our budget starts to look like. Hi, my name is Noah. I am a junior managing director at a big private equity fund. I'm in finance.
I'm looking for a man in finance.
I work 70 hours a week. I make big deals. They're very important. And I am earning $1 million a year. That is $83,000 a month. After taxes, it's more like $48,000 a month. In 1 month, I'm making double what George makes in an entire year. In 3 years, I'll make more than he makes in an entire lifetime. I've got some serious money to work with here. Like, I'm officially among the top 1% of income earners in this country. And I'm very lucky because my income and wealth are increasing at a faster rate than everyone else's, and we'll see why in just a second. Making this much money, I can get a really nice house by spending 28% of my income, which means I can afford around a $2.6 million house. Wow, this one's kind of nice. This 5-bedroom,
That's beautiful.
5-bathroom home in this quiet Atlanta suburb. Man, it is
That's
nice
beautiful.
here. Look at this kitchen. Oh, and this beautiful yard out here. I might pick up croquet. And it even comes with this little friend. Hey, bud. I've always wanted my own taxidermy fox. This house is gonna cost me around $19,000 every month for the mortgage and other expenses, like house cleaners that come once a week to clean my entire house and do my laundry. My yard is maintained by a local landscaping company. I'm spending 16% of my income on transportation, which means a little over $13,000 a
That's
month
way
on
less than
everything,
what it was.
cars and planes. Instead of owning a car,
than the
I
other
lease one
guys.
in 3-year periods so that I can always be driving the newest, fanciest car. Like this Rivian. It's gonna cost me about $1,000 a month.
When you making that much money, then you can do that. Then you can always afford to be in the newest and latest vehicle. But when you making $25,000 a year, $40,000 a year, I don't recommend it. I don't advise that at all, bro. Cause I seen it You gotta on this channel, bro. I'm teaching y'all again, so I'm kind of teaching y'all different things that I went through and different things I've seen, bro. You have to learn from your own mistakes and other people's mistakes around you, bro. You have to. It's essential. Like you have to. You just gotta really be observing and paying attention to stuff. I learned from my mistakes. I learned from people around me, you know, and then I seen the different positions that trying to do that when you don't make enough money a year puts you in. But as you see, him making $1 million a year, he can afford that. It's no harm to him. He ain't putting himself in a fucked up position.
All in. I can totally afford that. I'm also taking a lot of taxis lately because I can afford it. And I can afford a private driver here and there, though I don't have a full-time private driver. I can hop on a flight too whenever I want. And when I fly internationally, I even splurge on business class. Still pretty expensive, but I've got all of these airline miles that I've racked up from all of my work travel that I actually get upgraded for free often. And now I'm actually pretty hungry, so let's talk about food. My budget for food has ballooned. Based on the BLS data, I could technically afford to spend $8,000 on food every month. But I'm not sure that's totally common among this income bracket. There's not a ton of good data on like the 1%ers. So I estimate that somebody in this bracket is spending more like $3,500 per month on food, which is still a lot. I'm officially deep in the don't look at food prices, don't shop for my own groceries, don't worry about ordering takeout whenever I want kind of rich. I can pay $20 for a salad.
When you're making that type of money, notice how comfortable he's living. Like he don't worry about the food prices over here. He not worried about how much this taxi or Uber costs. Like he's living in abundance. You know, just peep that.
Pay $16 for a smoothie. I could even drop $300 per person on a nice restaurant and not really be too stressed about it. Now, I can't afford a private chef yet, but I have opted for a high-end meal service that delivers dinners to my house. I have to work a lot. The difference is that per hour, my hours are much more financially valuable. George, Simon, and Tim all had to spend a lot of their hours cooking and cleaning and traveling around, but I can just pay to get a lot of that time back. I could technically afford to spend $4,000 a month on health, but again, we estimate that it's a little bit lower, more like $2,500, which would still mean a totally different healthcare world. I can go to any doctor, I can pay for a therapist out of pocket, I can easily afford to see a specialist for any kind of preventative care, physical therapy, elective surgeries, even stuff that isn't covered by my very good insurance. I can pay for it. I can pay out of pocket, and it's not too crazy for me. And even though I have a gym in my house because I converted one of the mini rooms into a gym, I actually pay for another nice gym membership at this luxury spa and gym so that I can use their hot tub and sauna. I also get in on their personal trainers who are really great. I recently signed up for this fancy doctor's office where I pay a monthly fee and I never have to wait more than 10 minutes in the waiting room. Remember, my time is extremely valuable. And this is one reason why my life expectancy is way up here. I'm probably going to live 7 or 8 years longer than George.
This the part where I was saying it's very sad. But watching this video from the time I turned it on to this point now, y'all see the different factors that play on why George and Tim lived to 75 years, and somebody who's making this type of money that can afford these different things that's not stressing, that's living more comfortable, can live up to 83 to 87 years, bro. It's sad, but this shit is true.
Laundry, cell phone bills, Wi-Fi, these are all negligible costs for me. I'm left with at least $10,000, and it could be way more if I reduced some of these assumptions, like spending thousands of dollars every month on food for just me. So what do I do with all this leftover money? Well, I do have a semi-complicated investment portfolio that I love to talk about. My money is in the stock market, 24/7, growing, compounding into more and more wealth. It allows my wealth to grow much faster than those who don't have extra money to invest. I go on vacations, though they do get interrupted by work. My job is very important. For international trips, I do sometimes splurge on business class tickets so I can lay down on the flight. What's interesting though is that even at this crazy income bracket, people can still blow their money every month, trying to keep up with their expanding lifestyle. But let's be clear, they're living unrecognizable lives to the previous income tiers we've talked about. So let's see what happens next.
All right, we're not going to get into the next tax bracket. I just wanted to, make a point to y'all and show y'all the difference between, we went from 25,000 to $1 million a year and everything in between. My main point of this video is as young Americans, young people, whoever is viewing this channel, bro, it's essential to have that side hustle, have that side business, or bet on yourself, or just anything besides relying strictly on your 9 to 5 to survive and live life. Cause you understand from the statistics that he had in his video and certain things that I've mentioned that a lot of y'all can probably relate to. It's very hard out here when you making $25,000 a year, $40,000 a year. It gets like when you get to that 100,000 a year, you kind of like right in between. You right in the doorway of living very comfortable, just depending on how you invest your money and how you just go about living life. You're not trying to lifestyle creep. I forgot who I got that from, but that's a good topic that I want to make a video on. Like when you making more money than you did the previous year and you trying to splurge your money, like right out the bat, nah, man, you need to save your money, invest your money at first. And then once you get comfortable or you making that type of money consistently, then that's when you kind of change your lifestyle. But yeah, man, we see how hard it is, bro. I just wanted to bring that video to y'all. I think it was a very eye-opening video. I hope this video brought some type of value, some type of knowledge, wisdom to y'all. But yeah, man, I'm finna go ahead and get up out of here, man. It is your boy Gummythedon, aka Gummy So Wavy, man, and we gone.
Broke my heart in high school, swear I needed that. Old girl tried to trap me with a baby, I swear I needed that. Made me focus on my paper, man, I swear I needed that. Trying to turn these stack of 20s in a stack of blue racks.